Hello, all my dear students. I'm your mentor Amit Ajmani, and I welcome you all to the next class of Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. In this class, we'll be starting up the chapter Why Do We Fall Ill? Let us start up with what exactly health is. When we define health, we say that health is a state of being well enough to function well physically, mentally, and socially. According to World Health Organization, that is WHO, they have defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of a disease or infirmity. It also includes the ability to lead a socially and economically productive life. So when we are talking about physical well-being, that means we are physically fit, we don't have any kind of disease. When we are talking about mental well-being, that means we are mentally cool and calm. Social well-being, we are living in a clean surrounding. So my personal opinion, I don't think that anybody of us fulfills the requirement of WHO's definition of health. So as per WHO, I don't think any one of us is healthy. Everyone has got some or the other mental problems, tensions, so we are not healthy. Now, what are the various factors on which health of an organism depends? The first factor is the physical well-being. It refers to the physical fitness of a person. A person should have adequate strength and stamina so that he is able to carry out his daily activities. The second factor is mental and emotional well-being. It refers to the mental well-being of the person when he is away from tensions and worries and all the negative emotions. The third criteria for remaining healthy is social well-being, means the good surroundings or the good social and physical environment in which a person is living. For this, public cleanliness is also one of the important factors. For example, if our house is clean from inside, but there is a great deal of garbage thrown in our streets, or if there is any open drain water which is lying stagnant around where we live, then obviously we cannot remain healthy. And in such surroundings, the possibility of poor health increases. Another important factor for a healthy person is good economic conditions and jobs. Everybody needs food for health, and how this food is going to come? It has to be earned if a person is doing some work. So if there is no job, if the economic conditions are not good, a person cannot remain healthy. Another important aspect is social equality and harmony. This is also required for being healthy. So these are a few factors which can lead to good health. What if a person is not healthy? In layman terms, we say that a person has a disease. Now, what exactly is disease? Disease means dis-ease, means disturbed ease, which literally means being uncomfortable. When a person is having a disease, he has a disturbed state of body or disturbed state of mind. And whenever there is a disease, either the functioning or the appearance of one or more system of the body will change for the worse. And this is going to give rise to the various symptoms and signs of disease. What are these symptoms and signs? Let us try to understand. The symptoms of a disease refer to the general visible changes and the feelings when we feel that there is something wrong going on in our body. For example, we have headache, we have loose motion, we have cough, we have any wound with pus. These are all the symptoms. Now, why exactly the headache is being caused? That is something different. But headache means something is wrong in the body. Cough means something is wrong with the lungs. Loose motions means something is wrong with our digestive system. So these are all the symptoms which tell us that we are probably suffering from a disease. Next are the signs of disease. Signs of disease means the definite indications which indicate the presence of a particular disease. These are the signs of disease. Now there are different types of diseases. Let us try to understand them one by one. First type of diseases are the acute diseases. What are acute diseases? These are the diseases which last for only very short periods of time, like common cold, like cough, like fever. They are acute diseases. The second type of diseases are chronic diseases. These are the diseases which last for a long time. Maybe they last for 1 to 2 years, or they may last even lifetime. For example, the infection causing elephantiasis or the tuberculosis of lungs. These are chronic diseases. Apart from duration also, there are different differences between the acute and chronic diseases. Let us try to understand. We have just seen with the definition that acute diseases are of short duration. They will last only for a few days, whereas chronic diseases are of long duration and they will last for years or maybe a lifetime. Now, since the acute diseases last only for short time, therefore they do not cause major effects on the vital organs of the body, and they get over very soon. They do not have any major effect on the general health of the person. Even after having these acute diseases, the person leads a normal life after a week or so of the disease, and there is no long-term effect on people's health. But when we are talking about chronic diseases, since they last for a long time, they cause poor functioning of some of the vital organs of the body. And because the vital organs are not functioning properly, they are getting affected here. Therefore, it leads to poor general health. Like there may be loss of weight. A person may feel tired all the time, or a person may get breathless, or there may be a prolonged illness. So, they are going to cause drastic long-term effects on people's health. So these are a few differences between acute and chronic diseases. The next type of diseases are infectious diseases. Now what are these diseases? These are the diseases which can be spread from one diseased person to healthy person. And because they can be communicated through some infectious agents, they can be communicated to a healthy person. That is why they are also called as communicable diseases. When we are talking about infectious or communicable diseases, mainly the various microbes like viruses, bacteria, fungi, they are the immediate cause for such diseases. Example, common cold, influenza, dengue fever, AIDS, malaria, and the most recent corona, COVID. They are all communicable diseases. They are all infectious diseases, right? Now, the other diseases which are not caused by these microbes or infectious agents, which do not get communicated from a diseased person to a healthy person, are called the non-infectious diseases or the non-communicable diseases, right? They will not spread from diseased person to healthy person. For example, cancer. For example, high blood pressure. For example, headache. For example, stomachache. If one person is having headache, the person sitting next to him won't feel the same. If one person has a problem of high blood pressure, the person next to him is not going to have the same problem. So these are non-infectious diseases, and normally they are due to some poor functioning of some body organ, and that is why they are non-communicable. Let us see a few differences between the two. The first difference, communicable can spread from diseased person to a healthy person, whereas the non-communicable cannot be spread from one person to another. They will remain confined and restricted to the diseased person only. The communicable diseases are caused by external infectious agents, microbes or microorganisms like viruses, bacteria or fungi, and they can spread through various means like air, water, food, contact, insects, any particular way can be used to spread them. But in case of non-communicable diseases, they are caused by many causes, but they are not external causes. Mostly they are internal non-infectious causes like some kind of allergies or some nutritional disorders or some malfunctioning of body organs. And that is why they do not get transmitted through the ways like air, water, food, contact, insects, etc. So these are the various types of diseases: acute diseases, chronic diseases, communicable or infectious diseases, and non-communicable or non-infectious diseases. Now there are certain causes of any particular disease. There are first level causes. Now what is meant by first level cause? They refer to the immediate causes of disease, which may be the agents that cause the disease like any virus, bacteria, protozoan or worm. These are the immediate causes which are referred to as the first level causes of disease. There are second level causes which are the contributory causes. They actually deal with the reason of infection, which is caused by the immediate causes as to why and from where the infection came from. The third level causes are also the contributory causes, and they deal with the public health and public services that a person is exposed to, like the lack of clean drinking water or lack of nourishment or because of poverty, due to which he was exposed to these second level causes, and that is why the main reason they became the immediate cause for his disease. Clear? Now there are certain infectious agents, that is the microorganisms that cause some disease. Examples of infectious agents are viruses, bacteria, fungi, single-celled animals or protozoans, some multicellular organisms such as worms. There are various kinds of worms, right? So let us see what are the various organisms that causes the disease. The name of the organisms. Now this part you need to learn. Staphylococci. It belongs to bacteria category and it causes a disease called acne. Similarly, trypanosoma, which is a protozoan, it causes sleeping sickness. Leishmania is also a protozoan which causes kala azar. Ascaris lumbricoides is a roundworm which is present in the small intestine and it causes a disease known as ascariasis. So let us bifurcate them with their categories. The diseases caused by viruses are common cold, influenza, dengue fever, AIDS, corona, COVID. Bacteria. The disease caused by bacteria are typhoid fever, cholera, tuberculosis, anthrax. Fungi causes skin infections. Protozoans cause malaria and kala azar. Worms, they cause elephantiasis and intestinal worm infections. Now this part you have to learn because it can be asked both ways. You can be asked, name the disease caused by leishmania. You have to write the answer Kala Azar. So the agent or the organism name will be given and we will be asked the name of the disease caused by them. And it may be asked the second way also. Name the organism which causes acne. Name the organism which causes Kala Azar. Name the organism which causes ascariasis. So now we will be asked the diseases. We will be given the diseases and the examiner is going to ask the name of the organism which causes it. So both ways you need to learn and relate as to which organism causes which disease in both these tables. Fine. Coming to the comparison between these various infectious agents. Let us compare about all the category of infectious agents, the virus, bacteria, protozoan, fungi, etc. The viruses live inside the host cells, whereas bacteria very rarely do. Viruses, bacteria and fungi multiply very quickly. But in comparison to these, the worms multiply slowly. All bacteria are closely related to each other, but they are not related to viruses. Many important life processes are similar in bacteria, but not in viruses. Many bacteria make a cell wall to protect themselves, but viruses don't do it. Now, this is the study that we have made to compare the various infectious agents. Why are actually we making such a study? The simple reason is we have to treat the diseases caused by these organisms. So that is why it is must to study about them so that we can relate as to what are the characteristics shown by these agents and accordingly we can make any kind of medication against the diseases caused by them. For example, we make antibiotics. Now these antibiotics they work against bacterial infections. How? What these antibiotics do is they commonly block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. We have just studied that many bacteria make a cell wall to protect themselves. So there is an antibiotic called penicillin. What exactly it does is it blocks the bacterial processes which are involved in the process of building of the cell wall. The result of this is that the growing bacteria becomes unable to make cell walls and then it is easy to kill it. So this penicillin attacks the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria. Now when we eat or we take these antibiotics, then the important difference is that the human cells, they don't make a cell wall just like bacteria. So the penicillin will not have any kind of effect on us. It is only going to affect the bacterial cells. That is how antibiotics work against the bacterial infections because it is mostly common in all of the bacteria that they make a cell wall. But important thing is when we have studied that we related that the viruses do not make such cell walls and that is why the antibiotics they don't work against viruses. Antibiotics are ineffective. They are not effective against the viruses. Why? Because Viruses do not have these kind of metabolic pathways which were found in bacteria. Viruses don't make a cell wall. So antibiotics can't block those biochemical pathways, right? What viruses do is they make use of the machinery and pathways of the host cells. And that is the main reason why we face difficulty in making the antiviral medications. The COVID medication that the whole world has been doing, how long they have taken in order to build some kind of medication against the COVID. So it is very difficult because very few virus specific targets are there to aim at. So we don't know which target organ it will be. And that is why, because of the different biochemical pathways of viruses, it is very difficult for making antiviral medication. Fine. Now, the diseases spread from one person to another. There are various common methods by which the transmission of diseases take place. One method is direct contact. An infectious disease can spread by direct contact between the infected and the healthy person. It may occur through some discharge from the sores or the skin, and it includes diseases like chickenpox, common cold, COVID again. Another method of transmission of disease is through air. Mostly the respiratory infections, they spread through the little tiny droplets which get thrown into the air whenever an infected person sneezes, coughs or spits. This sneeze or cough or spit is laden with bacteria and viruses, and when a healthy person inhales this air, he will get infection. Common cold, pneumonia, tuberculosis, influenza, COVID, they all spread like this, and that is why we are instructed to wear the masks in order to protect ourselves against this deadly coronavirus. Fine. Next way is through water. When the excreta of an infected person who is suffering from an infectious disease, it gets mixed with the drinking water, and when people are going to drink this contaminated water in any form, they will also get infected. Mostly all the diseases of alimentary canal such as cholera, typhoid, dysentery, they all spread through contaminated water. Another way of transmission of diseases is through contaminated food. The bacteria which causes infection of alimentary canal like dysentery, typhoid, salmonella, food poisoning, they all are passed out in the feces, that is the excreta of infected person, and they reach the food through unwashed hands and enter the body through mouth, goes into the stomach and intestine, and they will cause the infection. There are so many times, so many of us have been suffering from, or we have heard someone in our acquaintance suffering from food poisoning, and the very first thing we say, or every third person says, he must have eaten something wrong from outside. That must have been contaminated, which has caused this food poisoning, the infections, right? Now, very importantly, there are certain diseases which are transmitted sexually. Such diseases are called sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. They spread by sexual contact with the infected person. Very important examples you need to relate: syphilis, gonorrhea, and AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. They are all examples of sexually transmitted diseases. Fine. Now, these diseases are also transmitted by certain carriers which are called vectors. There are various animals like houseflies or the mosquitoes or rats, etc. They carry the infecting agents from a sick person to another potential host. These animals are called intermediaries or vectors which spread the diseases. For example, the female Anopheles mosquito, it spreads malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium vivax, and this female Anopheles mosquito, it carries this Plasmodium vivax which causes malaria. The rat fleas spread plague. The house flies spread cholera and many other intestinal diseases. So these vectors are also the carriers for transmitting diseases from a diseased person to a healthy person. There are certain diseases which are transmitted through animal bites. For example, rabies or hydrophobia. This is caused by a virus that is transmitted through a dog bite. This virus is present in the saliva of the rabid animal and it enters the healthy person through the womb. Through monkey bite also it can be caused. So these are the various ways of transmission of diseases. But all we have studied, they all are quite important. That is either through direct contact or through air, through contaminated water, through contaminated food, sexual transmitted diseases, through carriers or vectors, and through animal bites. Clear? Now vectors, we have already studied that these are the carriers, these are the intermediaries which carry the infecting agents from a sick person to another potential host. Examples we have already seen: cockroaches, houseflies, mosquitoes, rats. Now why exactly they are intermediaries? Reason is, in many species of mosquitoes, the females need highly nutritious food which they take in the form of blood so that they are able to lay mature eggs. And that is why they feed on many warm-blooded animals, including us, the humans. And this is the way they can transfer diseases from one person to another during their bites. Clear? So this is how vectors spread the diseases. Talking a bit the sexually transmitted diseases in detail, STDs, we have just studied that these are the diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person through sexual contact. Examples we have seen: AIDS, gonorrhea, and syphilis. This AIDS is quite commonly studied. Till now we have studied about it. The full form is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a viral disease which is caused by a retrovirus HIV. This is human immunodeficiency virus. Now this HIV, it attacks the immune system of our body. So a person who is suffering from AIDS, because the immune system has been attacked, so an AIDS patient loses his or her ability to fight against diseases and microorganisms entering its body. So a person who actually suffers from AIDS has a very weak immune system. This AIDS HIV virus, it spreads through various ways. Number one is through sexual contact. Secondly, it is also carried from one diseased person to a healthy person by using contaminated needles or infected blades or even razors. They also spread through blood to blood contact with the infected people. For example, in blood transfusion. And it also spreads from an infected mother to her baby during pregnancy or maybe through breastfeeding. So these are the various ways in which AIDS can spread. Now let us see what all are the various points of entry for the various organs, how they enter our body, which organ they affect, and the diseases they cause. For example, if any microorganism or disease causing pathogen is entering through nose from air, directly it will go to lungs. For example, the bacteria which causes tuberculosis, it enters through nose by the droplet infection. If we are taking any microorganism through mouth, when we are eating food or we are drinking water, then through mouth it will be likely to go to the alimentary canal, and some of them may even go to liver. For example, the bacteria causing typhoid, it infects the gut lining. Similarly, jaundice is a waterborne disease which is caused by a virus that infects the liver. If a disease is spreading through sexual contact, it is likely to go to the sexual organs. For example, the AIDS which enters and spreads to lymph nodes all over the body. If some organism is actually entering our body through mosquito bite, that is from skin, from where it goes to blood, then it reaches the blood directly. For example, malaria, which is caused by malarial parasite Plasmodium vivax through female Anopheles mosquito, it goes into our blood directly, and it enters the red blood cells and liver cells and infects them. Similarly, there is a disease called Japanese encephalitis, which is also known as brain fever. It is caused by a virus that also enters through the mosquito bite, and then through blood it goes to infect the brain cells. So depending upon what is the point of entry of an organism in our body, most likely they will go to those organs which we have specified in the table above. Clear? Next we need to relate is what exactly is inflammation. Now, an active immune system, it recruits many cells to the affected tissue in order to kill off the disease causing microbes. This recruitment process is called inflammation. And when this process is going on, as a part of it, there are some local effects such as swelling and pain. And there may be some general effects like fever. Clear? Quite importantly, how can we treat an infectious disease? There are two ways. One way is to reduce the effect of the disease. That means we are taking the treatment to get some relief from the uncomfort which is caused by the disease. For example, if a person is suffering from fever, he can take medicine like paracetamol, right, or crocin or something which is going to bring down fever, or some medicine which will reduce pain like some painkiller, or some medicine to control the loose motions, or by taking bed rest so that we can conserve our energy. But this is only we are reducing the effect of the disease. We are not actually targeting the main cause of the disease, and that is what the second principle states, that is killing the cause of disease. In this case, we are taking medicine that will actually kill the microbes which are the root cause of the disease. We are not only working out on the symptoms or the signs. We are not trying to reduce the effects or the discomfort caused by the disease. We are actually targeting to kill the cause of the disease. Once the cause of the disease is removed, then ultimately The disease is going to be cured and its effects are also going to vanish. Clear? Now, this is quite rightly and quite importantly said that prevention is better than cure. We should try to prevent a disease rather than getting a disease and then going after the treatment. During the whole corona times, it has been said and advertised so many times. Everybody has gone through this phase. We all know that it is always advised to try to prevent the disease. Washing hands as many times we can. Always wearing mask whenever we are going out. Always making sure that we are avoiding going into the crowded areas. So what exactly is meant by doing all these activities? It is just the prevention. We all want that we should not catch corona or any kind of disease, right? So rather than getting the disease and then getting hospitalized and taking treatment for it, it's better to prevent by taking precautions. Why it is said prevention is better than cure? There are three reasons. What are the reasons? Once someone has a disease, some of the body functions may be damaged and they may never recover completely. The second reason why it is always better to prevent a disease better than cure, because treatment is going to take time, which means that if someone is suffering from a disease, is likely to be bedridden for some time, or he is likely to be incapable of normal routine till proper treatment is given and till the person recovers completely. Third and the most important part is the person who is suffering from any infectious disease will serve as a source from where the infection may spread to the people. This is all that we have experienced during this corona times throughout the world. Everywhere, whoever has been infected with COVID is always advised to be isolated. Containment zones, isolation, 14-day isolation, remaining separately, right? Lockdown. All these terms we have got familiar during the past few months. During the corona times, we have been familiar with all these terms, and this is what exactly is the third point saying. If a person has got any infectious disease, by the time he is getting the treatment, he is going to act as a source from where this infection is going to spread to other people. And that is how corona has spread throughout the world. Millions and millions of people have suffered through it. Why? Because the people who have already got corona, they are actually coming in contact with the healthy people, they are spreading it. So because of all these three reasons, we should always try not to catch a disease and not to feel sorry and then undergo the treatment. Clear? Now, prevention is better than cure. We should prevent the diseases, but how? There are two ways to prevent a particular disease. One is the general way and another is the specific way. What are these? Let's try to understand. The general way is by preventing exposure, by maintaining public and community hygiene, by having proper sufficient balanced diet, by keeping the environment and surrounding clean. These are the general ways in which we can prevent any infectious disease. And the specific way is to increase our immunity. Once we increase the immunity of our body, then it will work against any specific disease. And how it can be done? By proper vaccination against that disease. I hope every one of you is able to relate these words, because these words we have been familiar with during this corona times. Vaccination, vaccine, people are working out throughout the world. The researchers, they are carrying out their experiments and they are trying to make a vaccine against COVID. So this vaccine, once made, is actually going to produce some kind of antibodies which will protect the body against any specific disease. We'll talk about it a bit later, right? So this is how we can prevent a particular disease. Now this is quite important table that you are going to understand. These are some important diseases which are caused by microorganisms. We have studied a bit of them above, but I have just collected all of these here so that you just need to learn this table and you will be able to relate. Talking about the viruses. These viruses cause various diseases. What all are these and what are the symptoms of these diseases? We have to study, relate and learn. So a lot of learning part required here. Viruses cause influenzas. The symptoms of influenza are sudden fever with headache. Viruses are also responsible for causing common cold. Rhinovirus causes it. And in common cold, we have got nasal and bronchial irritation. Viruses also cause smallpox. This is the variola DNA virus which causes it. And in smallpox, there is high fever, body ache, and rashes on the body. Measles is also called by viruses called paramyxoRNA virus. And in measles, we have got the sore throat, cough, fever, and small white spots on the body. Then we have got the rabies virus causing the disease rabies. In rabies, a person feels hydrophobia, fear of water. Then there is the mumps paramyxovirus. This is an RNA virus. In this, a person suffers from fever followed by swelling of the parotid salivary gland. Another disease, that is poliomyelitis, which is caused by poliovirus, picornovirus. In this, the nerve cells to muscles are destroyed, causing paralysis. AIDS, we have already studied, is a disease caused by HIV virus, in which there is a breakdown of the immune system. And importantly, hepatitis B is also caused by viruses, in which a person has infected liver, fever, and jaundice. So these are all the diseases which are caused by various types of viruses. Include one more, that is corona, caused by COVID. Symptoms, we know: breathlessness, dizziness, lung problem. These are all the symptoms. Fine. Next type of microorganisms are the bacteria. Let us see what are the various diseases caused by bacteria and what are the symptoms for them. Bacteria cause diphtheria, which is caused by Cumbacterium diphtheriae, and in diphtheria, person suffers from fever and severe damage to heart. Another bacterial disease is tuberculosis, which is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It mainly attacks the lungs, infects them, and it also infects the bones. Whooping cough, that is also known as pertussis. It is also caused by a bacteria, Bordetella pertussis. Severe coughing bouts, that is what a person feels and suffers from in whooping cough. Tetanus is also a bacterial disease caused by Clostridium tetani, and the toxins, they cause muscular spasm. So these are all the bacterial diseases along with their symptoms. Next type of microorganisms are the protozoa. Protozoa causes malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium vivax. In malaria, a person suffers from high fever. Another protozoan disease is amoebiasis, which is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. In this, a person suffers from diarrhea, loss of blood in stool, fever, and vomiting. Another microorganisms mainly responsible for causing diseases is fungi helminthus. It causes various diseases like Achilles foot, which is caused by Tinea pedis. In this, there is presence of sudden peeling and cracked skin between the toes. Another fungal disease is teniasis, which is caused by Tinea solium tapeworm. It infects the intestine. Another fungal disease is ascariasis, which is caused by Ascaris lumbricoides. It also infects the intestine. Fibroisis is also one of the fungal diseases, which is basically also known as elephantiasis. It is caused by Wuchereria bancrofti. In this, the legs of a person become heavy stout. So, lot many diseases, and importantly, you need to learn all because any of them can be asked. So, a bit of the difficult part, it will take a bit of time and a lot of efforts. Learning the various names of the diseases caused by these main four microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and fungi helminthus. Clear? Let's go further. Talking about the way of boosting immunity. First of all, we need to relate what exactly is immunity. Immunity is the capacity of the body to defend against the diseases. We can also define immunity as the ability of the body to resist the diseases. Right? Now, immunity is mainly based on or mainly formed due to the lymphocytes in our body, the WBCs. We have studied about WBCs and lymphocytes in transportation. WBCs are called the soldiers of the body, which protect the body from any kind of disease causing microorganism which is entering our body. Now, this immune system in our body, it works in a very nice manner. Let us see how. The immune system of our body is normally fighting off the microbes. We know that. Now we have got various cells in our body that specialize in killing these infecting microbes. And these specialized cells, they go into action every time any infecting microbe enters the body through any means, whether it is through food or air or water or anything. And these specialized cells will fight against these microorganisms. Now, when the cells of our immune system, they first see an infectious microbe, they respond against it, and the most important part is then they will remember it specifically. This is the most beautiful part of our body, that these specialized immune system cells, they remember all those microbes they have fought at one time, and the next time when those particular microbes or any of its close relative enter the body, the immune system, which already knows and remembers them, it will respond with even greater vigor, which helps in the elimination of the infection. This is how our immune system works. And we boost the immunity through vaccines. Now, what are vaccines? Vaccines are actually the live or inactivated pathogen purified antigen, or it is a recombinant peptide which could elicit the immune responses in body against any particular pathogen entering the body, right? The credit of producing these vaccines go to Edward Jenner, who first time developed the vaccine for a disease called smallpox, right? Nowadays, there are vaccines against many diseases like tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough, measles, polio. You must have just studied about the pulse polio program in our country from such a long time. Amitabh Bachchan, the famous actor, he comes, Do Boond Zindagi Ki, two drops for life. That is, against this is a polio campaign going on for quite some time now, and almost polio has been eradicated from India, almost, because of that huge that task performed by the government, and it was a mass event taking place throughout India for quite many years now, and it has borne fruits. The two main vaccines that we need to relate are the DPT and the BCG. The diseases against which these vaccines work: the DPT vaccine works against diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus, three different diseases. And BCG, the full form is Bacillus calmette-guerin. You need to relate the full forms. So this is about vaccines, and this is all about our chapter, Why Do We Fall Ill? So before ending the chapter, before ending the class, let us take 5 minutes in order to revise what all we have studied in a brief. First of all, we discussed about what exactly health is. It is a state of well-being to function well physically, mentally, and socially. We studied about the various factors on which the health of an organism depends. That is physical well-being, that is mental and emotional well-being, social well-being, public cleanliness, good economic conditions and jobs, and social equality and harmony. Next, we talked about what exactly diseases are. Disturbed is being uncomfortable, right? And these diseases lead to the symptoms and signs of disease. Symptoms, the general visible changes or the feeling that something is wrong in the body. Signs are the definite indications for the presence of a particular disease. We studied about various types of diseases. First type was the acute diseases, which occur for only a short period of time. Then are chronic diseases, which last for long period. We related the various differences between them, and we mainly concluded that chronic diseases are very harmful because they have drastic long-term effects on the health of a person. Next type of diseases we studied were the infectious or communicable diseases and the non-infectious and non-communicable diseases. We saw the immediate cause of infectious diseases are the microbes like viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, etc. We saw a few examples like common cold, influenza, dengue, AIDS, malaria, COVID, right? And non-infectious, which do not spread from a diseased person to healthy person. We related a few differences between the communicable and the non-communicable diseases. Next, we talked about the various causes of diseases. They are the first level causes or the immediate causes. Then are the second level and the third level causes, which are basically the contributory causes. Fine. Next, we talked about the various infectious agents like the microbes, viruses, bacteria, fungi, the single-celled animals, protozoa, worms. Then we studied various diseases caused by the organisms like acne is caused by staphylococci, sleeping sickness is caused by protozoan trypanosoma, kala azar is caused by Leishmania, a protozoan again, and Ascariasis caused by Ascaris lumbricoides, a roundworm in the small intestine. We saw various diseases caused by bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa and worms. This we saw later also in the table along with the symptoms. Clear? Next, we studied about the comparison between the various infectious agents, and this is very important to understand the difference between how they grow and how they develop so that we can work out for some medicine for the treatment against the diseases caused by them. Quite importantly, we related this above knowledge in the fact that the antibiotics, how they actually work against the bacterial infections. Mainly, they block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria, due to which they are not able to make their protective cell walls and it becomes easier to kill them. But these antibiotics, why they are ineffective against viruses? Because viruses do not have these metabolic pathways as bacteria have. Secondly, making antibiotic is simpler. We have got so many antibiotics, but making an antiviral is very difficult because viruses, they make use of the machinery and pathways of the host cells, and that is the main reason why there are a few virus specific targets to aim at. Quite importantly, we discussed about the common methods of transmission of diseases. This is either through direct contact, it may be through air, right? It may be through water, it may be through contaminated food, or through the sexual contacts, or it may be through any carriers or vectors which are the intermediaries, and through animal bites. You need to relate the examples of all of them, especially the sexually transmitted diseases, syphilis, AIDS, and gonorrhea. Then we discussed in bit of detail about vectors, how they spread the various diseases. Then we talked about STDs in detail, mainly AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, caused by HIV, that is the human immunodeficiency virus. We studied about the various means how this AIDS virus spread through sexual contact because it is an STD. It also spreads through contaminated needles, infected blades and razors, blood transfusion in which blood to blood contact with infected person is taking place, and during pregnancy or through breastfeeding it can spread from infected mother to her baby. In the next table, we studied about the various points of entry of various organs, and from there which are the various organs they are going to infect. And we also related a few examples of the diseases caused by such organisms. If they are entering through nose from air, they will go to lungs. If they are entering through mouth by food or water, they are most likely to go to alimentary canal, and some go to liver. Through sexual contact, they are most likely to go to sexual organs and affect them. Through mosquito bite, because they are entering from skin, they will reach the blood directly, from where they will be actually transported to various parts. Right? Quite importantly, we saw what inflammation is and what are the various ways to treat an infectious disease. Two ways: either just to take a temporary relief by reducing the effect of the disease, or by killing the cause of the disease. Quite importantly, we saw how and why prevention is better than cure, the three reasons we have studied, and what are the various ways to prevent a disease, general way or specific way. Now this is the part again which I will emphasize. This table a bit different and difficult. You need to learn all the diseases which are caused by the microorganisms. Viruses cause the most of them: influenzas, common cold, smallpox, measles, rabies, mumps, poliomyelitis, AIDS, hepatitis B. The particular viruses like rhinovirus, variola DNA virus, paramyxoRNA virus, rabies virus, right? Let me get back to the table. And the mumps paramyxovirus, which is also an RNA virus, polio virus, picornovirus, then HIV virus. These are all the various viruses which are causing these diseases, and these are the various symptoms shown under these diseases. The various diseases caused by bacteria are diphtheria, tuberculosis, whooping cough, and tetanus caused by Combacterium diphtheriae or Mycobacterium tuberculosis or Bordetella pertussis or Clostridium tetani. And the symptoms of the diseases caused by them. The protozoans cause malaria, amoebiasis, that is Plasmodium vivax and Entomida histolytica, and the diseases caused by them. Fungi or fungi helminthus, it causes athlete's foot, teniasis, ascaris, fibroisis, which is also known as elephantiasis, caused by Tinea pedis or Tinea solium tapeworm or Ascaris lumbricoides or Wuchereria bancrofti, along with the diseases caused by them. This is the main part which will be requiring a lot of effort for you to learn. On a teacher's perspective, I also admit it, but definitely you have to learn. So you need to make that effort. Then we talked about what our immunity is and how our immune system works against the various disease causing microorganisms. Then what are vaccines? Fine. Quite importantly, they are the live or inactivated pathogen purified antigen or recombinant peptide. What exactly these vaccines do? They could elicit the immune responses against any particular pathogen. First vaccine was developed against smallpox by Edward Jenner. Then various diseases against vaccine is available at the moment. These are tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough, measles and polio, and full form of DPT and BCG. DPT is diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, and BCG is Bacillus calmette-guerin. So dear students, this is all about why do we fall ill. Clear? So time to end up the class now. Once again, the same sentence. Go back home, start learning, make sure that you learn the most of it, the best you can, right? And in the next class, I'll be discussing the question answers, which are the main thing that we are focusing on. These chapters, these topics you already have studied. These topics, you have the material in your houses. You have so many books, so many things, so many sources. You can directly do from there. But important thing is, after doing all these, what are the various questions that you may encounter, right? The main focus should be on the question answers. So that is what we are going to do in the next class. So we'll meet you all in the next class. Till then, just read all these, especially the tables which we have seen, the names of the diseases, the names of the microorganisms causing those diseases. The symptoms are also a bit important, but mainly you need to focus on the microorganisms and the names of the diseases caused by them. Clear? So, take care of yourself. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, have a great day and thank you so much for being with me. Enjoy yourself, guys.